we would set the sentencing on a convenient day that week for all parties involved.
The jury found a defendant guilty of first-degree murder as charged in the indictment. When the court found Ksoo guilty, no one realized the jury might have just signed his death sentence. Just hours after he arrived at his new prison, insiders claimed things turned deadly. Apparently, ATK finally got their revenge. Let me break it down. When the hood comes to prison, there's talk right now that Ksoo's already been harmed in prison. And honestly, it wouldn't be a shock. The man's got enemies everywhere, and just about everyone's got a bone to pick with him. Ksoo got hit with that guilty verdict for first-degree murder in the 2020 shooting death of 23-year-old Charles, Lil Buck, McCormick Jr., and that conviction came with a mandatory life bid. No parole, no appeals. That's a life sentence, straight up. He's facing decades behind bars, a reality that makes him a prime target the second he steps inside those gates. But the conviction itself wasn't the biggest blow. It was what led up to it. It was the testimony. It was the betrayal. It was the father, Ksoo's own father. The leaked footage of the trial itself is brutal. The courtroom silent, heavy with anticipation. Ksoo looking stoic, almost defiant, despite the gravity of the situation. Then his father takes a stand, and the room changes. The energy shifts. The air gets thick with a kind of collective dread. "I got some health issues," he began, his voice low but carrying across the room. Two, it's a line that reverberates through the streets, through the prison system, through anyone who understands the unspoken code. For those outside the streets, it's hard to grasp the sheer weight of that statement. It wasn't just about being unwell. It was an admission, a surrender, a betrayal of the most sacred rule in the hood. Never, ever snitch on your own family. The prosecution hammered him, laying out the details, the charges, the potential consequences. But the real pressure came from within, from the unwritten law of the streets, the code that governs everything. He was caught between a rock and a hard place, his back against the wall. My 6-year-old son, he asked me to come to his football games, come take him fishing. He continued, his voice cracking. He asked me, "When am I going to come see you? When is he going to come take me to the daddy-daughter dance? He's begging me. Please, please come see me, Daddy. You want to teach me how to play the game, but don't know where I'm at." It's a scene designed to break hearts, a carefully constructed narrative aimed at eliciting sympathy. But in the prison system, sympathy is a weakness. It's an invitation. And Ksoo's father just handed his son an open invitation to a world of violence. The plea deal was brutal in its simplicity. Testify against Ksoo and get a reduced sentence of 76 months, most of which he had already served, meaning he could walk free in less than a year to spend his final days with his younger children. Without the deal, he was looking at up to 60 years for his charges in both the McCormick and Rothermale cases. It was a gamble, a desperate throw of the dice, but it was a gamble with his son's life as the ultimate stake. The personal cost of this decision was immediate and devastating. When they asked him about how snitching would affect his family relationships, his answer revealed just how completely this decision had destroyed his world. "I really don't have no more relationship with my family besides. Family completely cut you out. It's a fate worse than prison. It's losing your identity, your purpose, your connection to the very people who define you." This betrayal didn't just impact his immediate family. It sends a message throughout the entire prison population. It says, Ksoo is weak. Ksoo is vulnerable. Ksoo is ripe for the taking. The prison system is a brutal ecosystem, a hierarchy of power and violence. It's a place where old beefs never die, where disrespect gets remembered for years, and where the wrong look or comment can lead to serious consequences. For someone like Ksoo, who built his entire reputation on being disrespectful to his ops and bragging about bodies, prison was basically a 24/7 danger zone. He's not just facing a life sentence. He's facing a life sentence under a constant threat of violence. The allegations that surfaced in December 2024 added another layer of complexity to the situation. Claims that Ksoo was being mistreated in Duval County Jail, housed in the psych ward with mentally ill inmates, denied proper communication with his legal team, raised serious questions about the tactics being used to break him down before the trial even began. If those conditions were real, imagine how much worse things would get in state prison, where the guards have less oversight and the inmates have more freedom to move around and handle their business. He was walking into a hornet's nest. He was a marked man. The psychological pressure of entering this environment can't be overstated. For someone already dealing with the mental trauma of knowing his own father had...
The murder trial of Jacksonville rapper Hakeem Ksoo Robinson and his cousin Leroy Whitaker. It's one step closer to going to the jury. Closing arguments began this afternoon. Both men are charged in the 2020 shooting death of 23-year-old Charles Lil Buck McCormick Jr. Prosecutors say the motive involved a diss track McCormick created. News4 Jax reporter Brianna Brownlee has been following this trial from the beginning. She's joining us now live outside the courthouse with the latest on this.
Yes, it was a day full of disruptions in the courtroom.
Snitched on him. The additional stress of constant threats and the need to always watch his back would be overwhelming. The case of Casanova provides a chilling glimpse into what Ksoo might be facing. While awaiting trial at Essex County Detention Center, Casanova got into fights with Ulysses Lugo, who was connected to his own gang. These fights got extremely violent, with both inmates getting their faces slashed with razors and other inmates subsequently hurting Lugo, possibly on Casanova's orders. What makes Casanova's situation relevant to Ksoo's story is how Casanova had spoken out against his own gang, which led to him being targeted. It illustrates the brutal reality of prison life. Disrespect, even if it's years old, will be repaid. And for someone like Ksoo, whose reputation was built on defying that very system, that makes him a prime target for anyone looking to make a statement. The leaked footage of King Von's time behind bars serves as another warning. Von was subjected to a grueling interrogation, revealing his fear and vulnerability. "Can you tell me what happened?" a sergeant demanded. "I got hit," Von responded, his voice hesitant. "Who made you still?" the sergeant pressed. "They just made me," Von mumbled. It's a scene that epitomizes the powerlessness of an inmate facing the collective wrath of the prison population. The subsequent videos showing Von requesting protective custody and then getting into an altercation with the Chicago rival further illustrate the precariousness of his situation. He was constantly looking over his shoulder, knowing that one wrong move could trigger a violent confrontation. Even Von, with his own reputation for toughness, had to resort to begging for protection. And Ksoo, who is now seen as an enemy of the entire prison system, has no such luxury. The upcoming days, weeks, and years for Ksoo will be a constant struggle for survival. He will be surrounded by enemies, living under a constant threat of violence, and forever tainted by the betrayal of his own father. The streets have spoken, and the message is clear. Ksoo is a target. And in the brutal reality of the prison system, that's a death sentence waiting to be carried out. It's more than just a sentence. It's a war. And Ksoo just lost the first battle. The courtroom went silent. The air thickened, heavy with anticipation and dread. For Hakeem Robinson, the moment had arrived. The verdict was in. The jury had spoken, and the weight of the world pressed down on his shoulders. This was just another case. This was a culmination of years of violence, betrayal, and a twisted family saga that had gripped Jacksonville. Ksoo was sentenced. Goodbye forever? The question hung in the air, a chilling prophecy of what lay ahead. This is the story of how a young man, once a rising star in the streets, found himself facing a life sentence, a casualty of gang warfare, and a heartbreaking testament to the destructive power of revenge. The source material paints a vivid picture. Imagine driving your dying son to the hospital while you're bleeding out yourself, listening to him take his last breaths. That type of trauma changes a man forever. That's what Whitaker Sr., Ksoo's father, endured on that fateful night of January 15th, 2019. It was a night that ripped the heart out of the Whitaker family. Willie Boss Goon Addison, a key figure in the local street scene, was shot outside a club, an event that also wounded Whitaker Sr., his son, and a nephew. This wasn't just a shooting. It was an act of war, the opening salvo in a bloody feud that would consume the lives of everyone involved. The source doesn't shy away from the uncomfortable truth. Ksoo's descent wasn't some sudden fall from grace. It was a slow, insidious process, fueled by ambition, loyalty, and the allure of power. He was raised in a world where respect was earned through strength, and retribution was swift and merciless. The streets offered him a sense of belonging, a purpose that he desperately craved. But that same world ultimately led him down a path of no return. The prosecution, led by State Attorney Melissa Nelson, built a meticulous case, weaving together a tapestry of evidence that left little room for doubt. They had accomplice testimonies, fingerprint evidence, recovered weaponry, and social media posts that seemed to corroborate the narrative of a planned execution. It was a comprehensive strategy, designed to dismantle Ksoo's defense and expose the brutal reality of his actions. But the legal strategy wasn't just about convictions. It was about sending a message. The streets wouldn't dictate the law. Dominique Butter Barner's testimony was a key piece of the puzzle. A former associate, Barner flipped, detailing the planning and execution of the hit on Willie Addison. He described how Ksoo, along with Leroy Whitaker and Antoine Scotty Barner, meticulously researched Addison's location, staked him out, and ultimately orchestrated the ambush.
Today, from a 2-hour delay because of witnesses and technical issues from the court causing audio issues during testimony as well as closing arguments. And in a surprising twist, someone from the Robinson family was banned from the courtroom because they were live streaming testimony. However, despite all this, closing arguments did happen, but this was after Hakeem Robinson's older sister took the stand to defend her baby brother.
Hell no.
This was the immediate reaction from Hakeem Robinson's older sister when she first saw the photo of the...
Barner didn't hold back, recounting the details with a chilling detachment, effectively painting Ksoo as the architect of his own demise. But the defense wasn't without its arguments. Julie Schlacks, representing Scotty Barner, aggressively attacked Butter's credibility, portraying him as a desperate informant willing to lie to save his own skin. She sought to cast doubt on his motivations, suggesting that he was motivated by a desire for leniency rather than a commitment to justice. It was a classic courtroom maneuver, attempting to undermine the prosecution's star witness and create reasonable doubt in the jurors' minds. The source also highlights the complex web of relationships that fueled the conflict. The Whitaker family tree is more than just a family chart. It's a map of alliances, betrayals, and simmering resentments. Understanding these relationships is crucial to grasping the depth and intensity of the feud. It's not just about gangs. It's about families, legacies, and the enduring cycle of violence. The legal implications extended far beyond the courtroom. The case raised serious questions about the use of rap lyrics and social media posts as evidence. When those artistic expressions seem to mirror actual criminal acts, where do you draw the line? Is it a legitimate tool for uncovering the truth? Or does it unfairly prejudice the defendant? This is a debate that's likely to continue for years to come, especially as hip-hop continues to evolve and blur the lines between reality and fiction. The source offers a fascinating look at the mental state of Ksoo's father, Whitaker Sr. Imagine the burden of knowing your son is facing a life sentence, knowing that his actions have brought so much pain and suffering to so many people. It's a devastating reality, one that tests the limits of a man's resilience. And it speaks volumes about the complexities of family, loyalty, and forgiveness. The source also makes a critical point. The speed with which the jury delivered the guilty verdicts was telling. Less than 2 hours for Scotty's jury, 3.5 for Ksoo's. It wasn't just about the evidence, it was about the message. The jury wasn't just delivering a verdict, they were delivering a statement. They were saying that violence and intimidation wouldn't be tolerated. They were sending a clear signal to the streets. The law would prevail. Shannon Schott's analysis provides crucial insights into the broader implications of the case. The prosecution strategy wasn't just about locking up Ksoo and Scotty. It was about disrupting the entire ecosystem of street violence. It was about sending a message to other potential perpetrators. You will be held accountable. And that message resonated throughout Jacksonville, sending a ripple effect of fear and uncertainty through the criminal underworld. The video details the chilling reality faced by inmates, including Ksoo, within the prison system. The clip allegedly featuring Y&R, Slugga T, Talking about putting hands on Ksoo highlights the constant threat of violence and the ever-present danger of retribution. His gang affiliation, once a source of protection on the streets, became a target within the prison walls. Every interaction was a potential trap, every moment fraught with peril. He was a walking target, and the shadows were always watching. But the source isn't simply about condemning Ksoo's actions. It's about understanding the circumstances that led him down this path. It's about exploring the cycle of poverty, violence, and despair that traps so many young people in communities plagued by crime. It's about recognizing the systemic failures that perpetuate these cycles and denying these young people a chance at a better life. The legal system, as depicted in the source material, isn't a perfect machine. It has its flaws, its biases, and its limitations. The defense, while fighting valiantly, faced an uphill battle against a mountain of evidence and a public eager for justice. The prosecution, while aiming for accountability, risked perpetuating a system that disproportionately targets marginalized communities. And then there's the question of forgiveness. Can Whitaker Sr. ever truly forgive his son? Can the community ever heal from the wounds of this tragedy? The source doesn't offer easy answers. It simply lays bare the complexities of the situation, forcing us to confront the uncomfortable truths about violence, revenge, and the enduring power of hope. The source also highlights the use of ineffective assistance of counsel motions, a standard procedure in murder convictions. This indicates a recognition that the legal process isn't always flawless, and that appeals can be filed to challenge the outcome. It's a complex and often lengthy process, but it's a vital safeguard against injustice. The legal strategy wasn't solely about convicting Ksoo and Scotty. It was about dismantling the entire network of street violence. The message sent was clear. The streets wouldn't dictate the law, and those who chose to live by violence would be held accountable. This was a pivotal moment in Jacksonville's history, a turning point in the fight against street crime.
Alleged gunman in the 2020 killing of Charles McCormick, and it was questioned if it was her younger brother. In court Wednesday, even now, years later, with her brother on trial accused of that murder, she testified there's no way that's him.
He's approximately 5'8" to 5'10", black male.
Tim Graham is now a retired JSO officer, but 5 years ago, on the day of the shooting, he was one of the officers chasing the shooter and gave the description of 5'8" and a bit athletic.
Did you see this person jump a couple of fences?
Absolutely.
He was able to evade Officer Prater?
And me.
Robinson's sister didn't hold back when describing her brother, painting a different
The source's mention of Dominique Butter Barner's testimony isn't just about the facts of the case. It's about the complexities of human motivation. Barner's decision to cooperate with the prosecution wasn't driven solely by a desire for leniency. It was also driven by a desire to do what he believed was right. It's a testament to the power of conscience, even in the darkest of circumstances. The trial wasn't just a legal proceeding. It was a public spectacle, a drama unfolding in real time. The media coverage was intense, the public interest palpable. Everyone wanted to know what happened, who was responsible, and what the outcome would be. It was a moment of collective anxiety, a nation holding its breath as the fate of Ksoo and the future of Jacksonville hung in the balance. Ultimately, the story of Ksoo isn't just about a single crime. It's about a cycle of violence that has plagued communities for generations. It's about the choices we make, the paths we take, and the consequences we face. And it's a stark reminder that even in the pursuit of justice, there are no easy answers, and the wounds of tragedy can take a lifetime to heal. The title, Ksoo Sentenced Goodbye Forever, isn't just a statement, it's a prophecy. The legal process has run its course. The verdict is final. The doors of opportunity have slammed shut. But the story doesn't end here. The ripple effects of this tragedy will continue to be felt for years to come, a constant reminder of the devastating consequences of violence and the enduring need for hope, forgiveness, and a chance at a better future. More, the finality of that pronouncement hangs in the air, a suffocating weight pressing down on everyone involved. Ksoo's sentence, a lifetime behind bars, isn't just an end to his legal battles. It's a punctuation mark on a story riddled with pain, loss, and a desperate search for justice. But is it really over? Can a sentence, no matter how severe, truly erase the devastation he wrought? Can it offer solace to those left behind, grappling with a grief so profound it threatens to consume them? The courtroom emptied, the murmurs fading into the sterile silence. Outside, a small crowd, a mix of protesters and curious onlookers, dispersed slowly, their faces reflecting a complex blend of relief, sadness, and lingering questions. It's a moment etched in the collective memory, a stark reminder of the fragility of life and the devastating consequences of unchecked rage. But even as the legal machinery grinds to a halt, the real work begins. The agonizing process of rebuilding shattered lives, of confronting the wounds that run far deeper than any courtroom verdict can reach. It's about the choices we make, the paths we take, and the consequences we face. The source text echoes, a simple statement carrying the weight of 1,000 untold stories. Ksoo's journey wasn't born in a vacuum. It was a product of circumstances, of upbringing, of a system that, perhaps, failed him, and failed the victims even more. Exploring those underlying factors isn't about excusing his actions. It's about understanding the complex web of factors that can lead a person down such a destructive path. It's about looking beyond the surface, confronting the uncomfortable truths about societal inequities, about the cycle of violence, and about the urgent need for intervention and support. Consider the families. The victims' families, their lives irrevocably altered by an act of unimaginable cruelty. They sought justice, a semblance of closure. Did they find it? A lifetime sentence might offer a degree of security, a guarantee that Ksoo will not inflict further harm. But it cannot bring back what was lost. It cannot mend broken hearts. Their grief is a constant companion, a shadow that stretches long and dark, threatening to engulf them entirely. What kind of future awaits them? Can they ever truly heal? And what about Ksoo's family? Thrust into the spotlight, branded by association, they too must grapple with the fallout of his actions. They face the scorn of a community, the weight of shame, and the agonizing realization that their loved one is lost to them. Their story is a cautionary tale, a stark reminder of how violence ripples outwards, impacting countless lives. The legal process has run its course. The verdict is final. The doors of opportunity have slammed shut. But the story doesn't end here. This ISN's a neatly tied-up package with a bow. It's messy, complicated, and far from over. The ripple effects of this tragedy will continue to be felt for years to come. It's like dropping a pebble into a still pond. The initial splash might seem small, but the waves spread outwards, touching everything in their path. Think about the community itself. The shared trauma leaves its mark, creating an undercurrent of fear, mistrust, and anxiety. How do people rebuild a sense of safety and belonging? How do they overcome the lingering sense of vulnerability? It requires more than just a courtroom verdict.
He's around 6'3".
Again, keep in mind, shooter doesn't stop, say measure me. He's running and gunning.
The state argued that size descriptions may have varied because the shooter was in motion and it was a chaotic scene. During closing arguments, the state addressed the height and weight concerns, saying some witnesses didn't give the exact measurements because it was a quick, intense situation, adding that Robinson may have gained weight since the
It requires a concerted effort to address the underlying causes of violence, to foster empathy and understanding, and to create a culture of support and healing. It's a long and arduous process, but it's essential for the collective well-being of the community. And then there's the question of forgiveness. Can it be granted? Should it be sought? It's a complex and deeply personal journey, fraught with pain and uncertainty. For the victims' families, the prospect of forgiveness might seem unimaginable, a betrayal of their loved one's memory. For Ksoo, if he is capable of genuine remorse, it could be the first step towards redemption. A chance to confront his actions, to take responsibility, and to find a glimmer of hope amidst the darkness. The enduring need for hope, forgiveness, and a chance at a better future. The text underscores, and it's a sentiment that resonates deeply. It's easy to get caught up in the anger, the blame, the desire for retribution. But ultimately, it's hope that sustains us, forgiveness that heals us, and the pursuit of a better future that gives meaning to our lives. It's not about forgetting what happened. It's about choosing to move forward, to learn from our mistakes, and to create a world where such tragedies are less likely to occur. Consider the mental health aspect. Ksoo's actions weren't born in a vacuum. What shaped his mindset? What traumas, if any, did he experience? Were there warning signs that were missed? These are difficult questions, but they must be asked. A deeper understanding of the factors that contribute to violent behavior is crucial for preventing future tragedies. Early intervention programs, mental health support, and accessible resources can make a profound difference in the lives of vulnerable individuals. It's not about excusing bad behavior. It's about understanding it and addressing it. The legal system itself isn't infallible. It's a human construct, subject to biases, flaws, and limitations. While it strives for justice, it can also perpetuate inequalities and inflict further harm. The pursuit of reform is a continuous process, requiring constant vigilance and a willingness to challenge the status quo. Ensuring fair representation, addressing systemic biases, and providing access to legal resources for all are essential for upholding the principles of justice. It's not enough to simply punish offenders. We must also address the root causes of crime and create a system that is truly equitable and just. The community's response post-sentencing is critical. It's easy to move on, to try and forget, to pretend that everything is okay. But that's not a sustainable approach. Open dialogue, community forums, and support groups can provide a safe space for people to share their experiences, to heal, and to rebuild trust. It's not about dwelling on the past. It's about learning from it and creating a more resilient and compassionate community. It's about acknowledging the pain, validating the emotions, and offering a hand to those who are struggling. And what of restorative justice? Could it have played a role? While traditional punishment may offer a sense of closure, restorative justice focuses on repairing the harm caused by the crime and fostering reconciliation between the offender and the victims. It's a process that requires willingness, empathy, and a commitment to healing. It's not a substitute for accountability. It's a complementary approach that can offer a path towards understanding and forgiveness. It challenges the conventional notions of justice and offers a more human-centered approach to resolving conflict. The title, Ksoo Sentenced Goodbye Forever, isn't just a statement, it's a prophecy. It marks a definitive end to one chapter, but it doesn't signify the finality of the story. The consequences of his actions will reverberate through the community for years to come, shaping the lives of countless individuals. It's a reminder that violence leaves an indelible mark, and that healing requires a collective effort. It's a call to action, urging us to confront the root causes of violence, to foster empathy and understanding, and to create a future where such tragedies are less likely to occur. The legal process has run its course. The verdict is final. The doors of opportunity have slammed shut, but the story doesn't end with a gavel's bang. It morphs, evolves, and continues in the quiet corners of the community, in the tear-stained faces of the victims' families, in the lingering anxieties of the residents. It lives on in the memories, the stories, and the lessons learned. And it's up to us to ensure that those lessons are never forgotten, that those memories serve as a catalyst for positive change, and that the future is brighter than the present. The ripple effects continue. They always will. But what we do with those ripples, that's our responsibility. Our chance to shape a better tomorrow. It's a chance we can't afford to miss. The ripple effects continue. They always will. But what we do with those ripples, that's our responsibility. Our chance to shape a better tomorrow. It's a chance we can't afford to miss.
Walking back in, this is the first time he's standing up. You make a comment. You're a lot bigger than I thought you'd be.
Yes.
Right?
I said yes.
Not. You're the exact same size of the shooter that I've been investigating. Either consciously or subconsciously, you say, you're bigger than I thought you'd be. Right?
I've already answered this, but yes.
Please answer it again. They're not objecting. You don't get to make that choice.
Yes.
All right. Now, it wasn't just about his weight, was it?
It was about his weight.
Then why didn't you say it before he stood up?
I vaguely remember being in that room briefly. I don't think we made too many comments to each other.
If I'm sitting down, you can tell from my face, from my body, you can tell if I'm wide-shouldered, right? And you can't tell my height until I stand up.
At that point, I don't remember looking at his body. I was looking at his face, and then I think he asked to go to the bathroom. And then as he comes back in the bathroom, that's when I make the comment.
You also have the civilians that saw the shooting, right?
Yes.
Mr. Robinson's in an interview room. You come into the interview room, he's sitting down, right?
Yes.
You talk to him for a minute, he hasn't stood up yet, right?
I don't know if it was a minute. I think he almost immediately asked to go to the bathroom.
Then he walks out and he goes to the bathroom.
Okay. Yes, sir.
Is that correct? I wasn't.
That's accurate. Yes.